So, what will you do that other PA Senate candidates will not?
Um, what would I do that other PA candidates would not? What they usually do is talk down to people and try to tell them what they're gonna do, which is not exactly what I want to do. The point of running for office is to serve, and if you're serving, then you're. It's like a waiter. You don't go up to the waiter. The waiter doesn't come up to you and say, "Hey, you want to eat this? You want this? You want that?" No, the waiter says, "What do you want?" And then they wait patiently. They write down the information, and then they come and they serve you. That's the way I look at office. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna serve people the way they should be served.
Yep. And now for the next question. Fossil fuels. Pretty big to the Pennsylvanian economy and stuff of that sort. So, first question is on that. What will you do to help tackle uh, the rise in inflation? And what's your opinion on fossil fuels and the industry?
I think in order to for us to tackle inflation, we need to go for the root cause. Again, money is fiat, and if money is fiat, then it needs to be based. It needs to be gold based, and we need to do that as an American economy. We need to go back to the gold standard and get our money. I understand it's not gonna be an easy thing, but that's not the point. The point is a lot of things aren't easy, like losing weight. It's not an easy thing, but it has to be done in order for us to be able to get to where we got to go and get that inflation, because everything else is just a band-aid. As for what was the other question? Sorry.
Fossils.
hmm So what are we going to do with the fossil fuels? What
Yeah, like what is your opinion on them? What do you think about the Biden administration doing the things?
I think the Biden administration is a bunch of nimrods that don't know what the heck they're doing. Fossil fuels is not harming anyone. Yes, anytime you burn something and it releases carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide, those are gases and stuff. But to be honest with you, I don't have a problem with carbon dioxide, but I do have a problem with carbon monoxide. That can kill people. That is a byproduct. So we can do things to make sure that that doesn't happen. We put catalytic converters in cars, and we've done it to other things. So the point of the matter is we can do certain things to mitigate those things. As for carbon dioxide, it doesn't hurt the environment. It's not destroying anything. And believe me, there's plenty of consensus, and not even forget about consensus, because there's plenty of proof that says that um, climate change is not really occurring, and they just all these scientists are mostly paid in the pocket, and of course they're going to say we want to change the world, climate change, whatever, because they're getting paid, and we need to stop that. We need to get real independent scientists.
Yep, and talking about the Senate, there's people in the Senate that sit there for like 60 years. Do you think there should be term limit or age limits? We've seen the mental decline. Because I'm pretty sure Mitch McConnell had like a seizure the other day.
Yeah, I won't say age limit because it depends upon the person, but I will say term limits. Yes, there's got to be. The whole point is to be represented by the people, and if you have the same people becoming a kleptocracy or an oligarchy or whatever, if you have the same exact people all the time, you don't have choice. And when there's no choice, there's stagnancy. And this is why we have the America we have now, because we have the same people doing the same crap. And I don't know if you ever heard the phrase, but I forgot what it was again. I hate when it was literally in my mind. It's uh, insanity is doing the same thing over again and thinking that you're gonna get different I got the word, it just popped out.
The definition of insanity is when you do the same thing over and over and expect different outcome.
There you go, the outcome word didn't pop out, but that's the thing. We've been voting for the same people over and over again and thinking we're gonna get a different outcome. That's wishful thinking. It's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen.
Yep. So Now, on foreign aid, consider we've sent billions of billions of dollars to Ukraine. We're now sending it to Taiwan. We sent a bunch to Israel and Egypt, actually, in the Middle East. What's your opinion on that, and what would we do differently?
Okay, the same thing. My opinion is the same thing. Like if I lend money to someone in my life, my family, friends, whatever, I expect to get something out of it. Okay. Now, if we're just doing favors, okay, but this is not favors. This is business. We are infusing those countries with money for a reason. What is the reason? Apparently, I don't know what's going on with most of these countries. So we're talking about Ukraine. We're giving money for what? So that we can get ourselves into a war, World War III? No. So, in other words, if it doesn't benefit the American people, we need to cut it off.
Yeah. And what would you think about having an audit on all federal tax dollars?
one Hundred
Uh,
percent. Because if we get audited as the American public, no one's above the law. That means no entity, no person, nothing. Everyone should be covered under the law equally.
yep. And now, the next question is about, oh yeah, the PAGOP. What do you think about past Senate elections and the competency of the state GOP? Because there's a lot of races. Like, it'll go red in the presidential, but then it'll just flip blue on the local level.
If we have a unified, if we were to have a unified party, not a broken up party where we look at things as federal, state, and local, it doesn't work that way. It shouldn't be that way. We should have people that are running all get together, speak to each other, and say what is it that we is going to be the goal. If we were doing the right thing, like as I stated before with the other interview I did with you, if we were doing the right thing where we had the people at the local level having the ear of the local people, then we would know what the local problems were and what were the greater problems in the state. Then we could do something about it. Heck, we would, with the knowing what's going on in the state and then knowing what's going on in other states, we could hit the federal level, the local. I mean, it doesn't matter what level, we will be able to hit all of them because we have a consensus of all the people in the United States. We would know what they want, but no, we don't because we have this party wants this and this party want no. It should be the will of the people. We're not doing that. This is why we're not getting anywhere.
Yep. And now, what's your opinion on the 2024 presidential GOP primary? Who do you support, and what do you think of the other candidates?
What? Okay, so I say what I say is this. Again, we're going through that level again where we're trying to split ourselves up, and there's a lot of people trying to make themselves names. In reality, what we should have done is just stuck with Donald Trump. And I understand in reality, most of these people are probably thinking, if I run against Trump, I could get noticed, I could say this, I could do that, and maybe they'll give me a cabinet position or whatever. Okay, that's great. We're about choice. But in reality, this is not the time. This is the time for us to pick one person, one leader. Let's stand behind that person and get the job done. Instead, we have all of this bickering and stuff. So, everybody else, they could do what they want. We're a free society where we choose our leaders, and that's fine. But again, we know who's gonna win already. We already know what's gonna happen. This is the time we get behind him, Donald Trump.
Yep. So now, what do you think about tax, the income tax, and what do you think America can do to stop its population decline?
Okay, so taxes, again, we need a flat tax. That's it. Let's just go flat tax. As I stated before in the other interview with you, I stated that God doesn't even tax his people more than 10%. And yet we're getting this crazy, 15, 40, 20, whatever the heck percentages we get. Let's just do a flat tax. And then we're already getting taxed on other things, right? So if we could just do away with taxes altogether, that'd be great. But we do have to have taxes for
Yeah.
infrastructure and other things. But nevertheless, it should be that the American people decide by spending their money that they generate taxes, not being forced to be pulled out. So, I mean, as a person that's worked all my life, on and off, and my wife and stuff as well, let me tell you, it's been really hard when they pull out. You're like, oh, I made this much, and then you look at after taxes, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh Lord. So, yep,
Yeah, Texas is a lot. So, now we're going to be talking about China. Do you support tariffs on China or anything of that sort?
yep. Tariffs are a good way of putting a check on someone. We have checks and balance in America. We need checks and balance between other sovereign countries as well. If they want to come and flood our market with cheap products and make our workers and our laborers, we have to balance it somewhere, somehow, so that they could be able to have a chance to be in the market as well. If not, what's going to happen is it's China. If China's going to take over the whole entire market, and then once they become a monopoly, we're screwed.
Yeah. So, now I'm going to ask like two or three more questions. Then we're going to do the haha funny one
All right.
again. But now, for being in the Senate, do you believe that you can filibuster a long time? Because there's many people in the Senate that can't do that.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, of course, I could filibuster. I previously stated that I worked with children, so I work with children, and you have to command those children and their attention. It's really hard to command children's attention nowadays because of all of the media and everything. So believe me, I understand what it's like to try to get people's attention. So I could stay in a classroom almost 8 hours with children and command their attention. I got 8 hours plus that I can keep on going. And like I said, if I have to, I'll write songs and sing about the topics that we need to hear.
Yep, yep. So, with the debt, how would you tackle the debt? Do you think there's any alternatives to just using tax dollars to pay off a debt that is ridiculously huge?
Yeah. The best way again to pay any debt is to cut spending. Unfortunately, it's a hard thing. As I've done in my family, we've gone from being in really bad debt to now. I think the biggest debt that we have is maybe one credit card and the student loans that we have to pay off, me and myself and my wife. But had we not saved, had we not cut, we wouldn't be to the point where we are now, that we actually own our own home, and then on top of that, an investment property we're working on, which that investment property is going to be doing something which is bringing in more money. That's what we have to do. We have to bring in more money, but we have to do it in a way that's logical. As an American, we need to, as America, we need to invest more, so that the more people are working, the less taxes we have to take, really, because there's so many people working that we could just take a little bit of tax from each and every person, and it will be like sufficient enough, and we don't have to overtax people.
Yep. So, on education, do you think it should be federal or like handed back down to the states instead of having a huge department of education?
Everything that is not enumerated towards the federal government should go to the states, and that's not enumerated to the federal government, so that should go back to the states. And again, if it goes back to the states, then the responsibility then falls back on the governors and all the leaders of that state, also the parents. It's always been your right, and it's always been your what you call it, your responsibility to make sure that the child is educated. So it goes to the states.
Yep, and for the last serious question, uh, what do you think about gun rights and should we abolish the ATF?
ATS should be gone 100%. And because first of all, that wasn't around at the time of the founding fathers, so I understand we there are certain laws we should keep and whatever. We can have that debate as to that. But as for again, 100% agree that ATF should be gone. and the Constitution is very, very straightforward. Shall not be infringed. That's it. Unless you're doing something so heinous or criminal to the point where you should not be trusted with a firearm, then no, shall not be infringed. So
Yep. So that's all for the serious questions. Now we're going to talk about the very, very important questions here. Uh, what do you think about the USA buying Greenland?
oh, I enjoy. I love the thought of the USA buying Greenland. Maybe if people were more educated in America, they would understand the value. As I said before, myself and my wife, we bought our property. Instead of buying a big property, we ended up buying this property and then another one as an investment. Well, that's the same thing. By buying Greenland, we're buying an investment property that's actually going to make Americans money without, it'll be part of America. Number one, that means you can move over there and you can do things. You can work, you can go from time to time and work. The point of the matter is it's going to be a place where we have strategic defense as well. It's not only the fact that it can make us money, but we also have a strategic point to defend ourselves from other countries, so there's a lot that we can do with Greenland, but the American people need to be educated as to why it would be a profitable and also a smart thing to do to actually acquire it.
Yep, I completely agree. I think we should own Greenland. I also think, Alberta, I think that should join the US. Because actually, there's a lot of people there that want to join the US.
Yeah.
So, next question is the most important question that anyone in Pennsylvania could be asked. What's your favorite football team?
Unfortunately, I have no favorite football team because of the politics that went on and stuff. I got really turned off to watching sports fairly early on, but nevertheless, what put the nail on the coffin was the fact that everything got political. And I'm like,
Yeah.
look, I love politics. I do. I want to run for an office. I'm currently actually a judge of elections here. But what I'm trying to say is there should be a spot where you can go to and forget about politics, and that used to be the spot, sports, where you could just enjoy a day and have fun, and they ruined it for a lot of Americans. So uh I'll say, just like I said before, I'll say the Shamokin Indians, because there's no politics there.
Yeah. So, I'm mixing up the last question for it to be more culturally relevant than like 100 years ago. So, an even more important question. What's your favorite drink?
My favorite drink, well, what I drink every day that I happen to love is coffee. I love
Yeah.
coffee. It's just the simple fact is I can't drink it caffeinated because it kind of messes with my head. Unfortunately, I'm one of those people where caffeine does not affect me well, but nevertheless, coffee, I can have it morning, noon, and night, and it's usually decaf. But anytime I want to eat something sweet, I has to have that cup of coffee with
Yeah.
it.
Well, I just drink anything caffeine. I feel like absolutely great afterwards, but that's just me. So, yep, that was the interview. Go check out his website at
IsraelForSenate.com. Yep.
issueforsin.com. Go follow him on Twitter, all of his stuff, and consider giving him your vote the next election. Thank you all. Have a good day.
Yes, sir. Bye,
Yep.
everyone. God bless.
Bye. Ooh, gotta end the space. And I gotta get going because I need to go turn off the stream here.
Hmm.
Oh, my phone's now doing audio. I gotta go turn off the stream here. And yeah. But yeah, happy birthday. Happy 47th birthday. I will edit all the clips and I'll send you the space recording.
Please. All right. You have a great day.
Yeah,
All right.
I can't really